business market and the business world in all areas, whether communication, finance, marketing, all those areas. So that by the time you come out of the program, you are rounded. You get me? Now, 5 people will drop in the process of the program, and the final 5 will make a final pitch for their business idea after having gone through all the training. And 1 person definitely gets their project sponsored. But the interesting thing about it is that we have angel investors who are also watching. You get me? And so you might not necessarily win. You might not even necessarily be in the top 5, but somebody can buy into your business and get you get support in that area as well.
Okay. So it's more of you have an idea in your head. You don't have the finances. Come and show us what you can do in respect to that idea. And if you are that good, we'll give you the money to do it.
Sure. Or even you might have started a business,
Okay.
a micro or small business,
Okay.
and you need finance to expand.
Okay.
You can also apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not just someone who has an idea, someone who has started. But
Yeah, it's
yes,
not
to
just
get
an
the money.
idea. Someone who has started, but you maybe want to expand and grow your business.
Okay. So what age limit are we looking at?
We're looking at 30 years and below. Yes, we're looking at 30 years and
Life
below.
begins at 40, no, they're 30.
Life begins at 40, but preparation starts at at 30. So you have to prepare before you begin life.
That's fair. That's fair. So then you've told us how it works, the capital. Who is funding it? Like 100,000 is a lot of money.
Yes, we have our partners actually. Our major partner is the Adventist Adventist Heritage Cooperative Fund.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Adventist Heritage Cooperative Fund. And then we also have the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program, who are also our partners. But we also have donors, because, this is, apart from the fact that there's a cash prize to sponsor a business, it also involves a lot, a lot of work. And so we have some donors who are supporting us with, for example, what we'll eat, location venues where we would have incubation places and things like that. So we have Mind Builders Africa, we have Innovate Black, the Kumasi City Incubation Hub, the Chill River Resort, J Modern Health Services, E-Juice Company Limited, and Gracious Grace. These are our donors on the pitch, And the pitch, obviously, is a Hope Channel product in partnership with Seed Spring Network.
Oh, okay. So then let me ask this question. Let's say someone is really interested and in supporting as a donor or as a partner. What should a person do?
Please just call. Just call us. You can call us on 050 80 80 774. In fact, let me speak to you. 050 80 80 774. Please call and would definitely have a discussion and see how best you can support, because it's something worth supporting. Especially in this period where we have a lot of youth unemployment. It's good if we can build up the young people and they also build up others.
That's true. Any final words?
Yes, we would ask everybody 30 years and below, probably 25 to 30 years, because 25 you're supposed to be out of university most of the time. So just go to the website, thepitchghana.com, thepitchghana.com, and register. And there's a lot of information about the program also on the website. So if you need further information on the program, apart from our social media sites, you can also visit the website. But you need to be at the website to register, thepitchghana.com.
Thank you so much, Shini. Thank you so much.
Too.
And so, in conclusion, if you have idea be your team, and I say, what started business be by and share that and do and course say about Yiska. Oh, and I say only mobile here, sir, Sky. Join us our program way, and when you do join, hey, who knows? When we get 100,000, who knows? I'll come for my share, right? Let's go for the short commercial break. We'll be right back. Are you a Ghanaian or resident of Ghana? Are you 30 years and below? Are you a startup, micro or small business owner wanting to scale up your business? Then apply for the Pitch 2024. Join the ranks of burgeoning startups from all across Ghana. Follow your dreams. Be bold and pitch to win a stake in the 100,000 Ghana cedis needed to unlock your startup's potential. Apply now with 100 Ghana cedis at www.thepitchghana.com.
The Pitch is powered by Hope Channel Ghana in partnership with Seed Spring Network and sponsored by Heritage Cooperative Fund, National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, and our donors.
Hope Channel is my favorite Christian channel. The best thing about this is that you can have it everywhere you go. All you need to do is to download the Hope Channel app on your Play Store or Apple Store and get all the programs you want to watch.
Welcome back. It was a very short break, no? So, as I said before, tonight's topic, we are going to look at the rights and responsibilities of the employer vis-a-vis the employee. Sometimes we always think that the employee always goes like, it's my right, it's my right. But as an employee, do you have any responsibilities? And also the employer, we always think the employer has the responsibilities. But do you think an employer also has some rights? That's what we're going to discuss today. And of course, my material, you know who it's by, right? Ella Fashimo. Ella Fashimo. She's in Kumasi. But if you order it anywhere you find yourself, she'll be with you. So call Samuela on 0243-018-508. 0243-018-508. And then the creation of this style is by Mamel's Creation. Mamel's Creation, you can call Rose on 0241-809393, 0541-0809393. It's very, very important. And if you want to sponsor this show, please do call 0559-680066, 0559-680066, and come and sponsor us. And who knows, we'll help promote your show or your program for you. All right, so I always do two. You know, I always do two, and I try to balance it, right? So I have a lady and a gentleman with me. So usually we say ladies first. This time, let me do the gentleman first, right? Let me do the gentleman first. He goes by the name Raymond N.D. Labi. I'll ask him what the N.D. means. I want to ask him on the show. So he's Raymond N.D. Labi. Raymond is a human resource manager with Multimedia Group Limited. He's also the chairman for the Accra chapter of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management. He has over 20 years of experience when it comes to human resource administration, banking, and communication. So apart from human resource, he's also an associate with Chartered Institute of Bankers and an associate with the Institute of Public Relations, Ghana. Since January 2014, he has been appointed a mediator arbitrator for the National Labour Commission, and since January 2010, he has been a labour consultant. So when it comes to labour issues as an employer-employee relationship, he is one of the go-to persons. Ray, Andy, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So what does ND mean?
I said Nidodu.
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 Nidodu. Hey! Okay, wait. Now I'm curious. It's not Nidodu, it's Nidodu.
I just returned yesterday, so...
You just returned yesterday?
It's Nidodu.
Very, very, very important. Very, very. But when I was going through your profile, I was like, that's quite strong. Having HR, now you're the chair now, and so the whole of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Practitioner in Accra, you are their chair.
Yeah.
How's it been like?
Oh, it's been good. It's been good. It's been a place of learning and sharing a lot of knowledge on human resource issues. So it's maybe you have to study HR, then we'll put you on the platform.
Actually, I am. I'm on my 3rd year.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm on my 3rd year. Just that your papers are not that easy. Welcome.
It will be.
It's well. Welcome.
Thank
welcome.
you.
Nidodu.
Yeah.
It's not Nidodu. It's Nidodu. and my lady, my lady goes by the name JM. Okay, no, not the JM. You know, she's a lady, so she goes by the name. She's Jamilatu Mahama. JM is a lawyer and she's a legal associate with Nyamechen as partners, a corporate and litigation law firm in Accra. Okay, she's also an adjunct law lecturer at UPSA Law School. She commenced, you see, she started as a nurse, and then she pursued, nutrition from the University of Development Studies, and then she did an MPhil in nutrition. So you can see that someone who is very interested in the medicinal field, and then all of a sudden, she just branched from nursing, and she did law. And she even has an MA, LM, Masters in Law. She's with us today. Jem?
Yes.
Nurse, lawyer. Where was the link?
You've done your homework.
Oh, I have. What was the link?
Everything is linked to law, isn't it? And everything is linked to health. So,
Is it?
yeah.
How are you going to combine it?
For now, the health part is only being used at home.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but yeah, now it's full-time law for now.
Oh, okay.
So maybe in future I'll find a way of combining it too.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking of a way of doing that.
Yeah. To
For
have
now.
your own hospital with your law firm and where, hey,
I know,
Charlie,
right.
that's a lot of money.
How to dream big.
You have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, welcome. With UPSA, what course do you teach?
So I taught the legal environment of doing business.
The legal environment of doing business. Hey, that's a strong word.
I know, right?
That's a strong word.
Yeah, but it just teaches them the basics of law for business students. Yeah.
And welcome, because the two of you have suffered to have you here.
Oh, no.
Hey, I have suffered. Yeah. So today, before you leave here, I will take everything from your head and put it down for our viewers. So now let's move in. So we are talking about the rights, responsibilities, and all that. But when we talk about rights, what are rights and what are responsibilities? Then we'll go into it deeper.
I think the lawyer will be more professional in quoting, but from the HR point of view, these are what we call legal entitlements. It means that it's been conferred on you either by the state, by way of either the Constitution or an act of Parliament. So when we talk of rights, it means that it's been given to you because of a certain status you have. And in this case, you are an employee. So once you're an employee, there's that moral entitlement that is given to you straight from God. And then the state will also give you what they call legal entitlement, which then mandates you to enjoy certain things within the work environment to ensure that you are very operational and you are very effective, and then you have a fair system to operate. So basically, we'll call it entitlement, where it must be given to you at all costs because of your status. And then the responsibilities are, once you are blessed, you are expected to deliver a certain outcome. And those are the responsibilities that will be enshrined either in the law or in the contract that you have. So that's basically what I would say.
That's quite explicit. That's quite deep. So, so when we talk about some of the rights, let's look at employer first. Let's look at the employer first. When you talk about some of the rights of the employer, what are some of them?
So an employer basically sets up their business. An employer sets up his own business, right? So it can be an organization, it can be a person or an institution. But whichever it is somebody that has set up his own business and he's hired another person to come and do the business for them. So first of all, he has a right to hire. Once you have your business, you can employ persons to come and work for you. So it's your right to do that. And like you said, mostly for employers, we look at their responsibilities, but they have a lot of rights. So yes, they can set up their rights. They can, and once they hire you, it means that they have the power to fire you. So they can dismiss you, they can terminate the appointment anytime they want to, subject to certain things that I'm sure we'll look at. And then they have the right to promote you, the right to discipline an employee. Yes, and also once they've set up their business, they also have the right to cease operations. You know, so they can modify their business as an employee. You can't say that, oh, when you hired me, you hired me into this business, so you can't change. No, they have the right to modify their things, to extend. So they can have a business here in Accra and decide that, okay, now I'm going to set up another business in Tamale, or I'm going to set up, or I have one in Adenta, I want to set another one. So they can extend and expand their business. They can formulate policies to govern their businesses, right? So they have all those rights. And I think that governs basically the businesses that they have set up as employers.
That's quite comprehensive. I always thought there are three: hire, fire, and transfer. But JM has given us a lot. So now let's look at some of their responsibilities. What are some of the responsibilities of an employer?
Once the employer has been given certain rights, and Jamila has mentioned the right of bringing people on board to execute a certain function. It means that once you bring somebody on board, you need to enable the person to deliver on the mandate. So immediately you move into a lot of action and a lot of things you need to do. You need to talk about pay. You need to talk about equipping the person to deliver, because you have entered into a relationship or a contract with an employee to be your maybe legal officer. I'm sure she will do a lot of research, which means that you must equip her with maybe the latest gadget to be able to do that. So it's one of the key responsibilities. You must ensure that you also work within a certain environment, that she has a freedom to think and then deliver on the mandate. You must provide all the resources you need, and then you must remunerate her in such a way that she'll be motivated to deliver. So the employer, once is blessed with certain rights, there are a lot of what they call responsibilities on the employer. And when you look at the Labor Act, it is like from here to Tamale, a lot of responsibilities just to enable the weaker vessel, that's the employee, to be empowered to deliver. And as we go on, we want to pick them one after the other. But basically, issues of interest of the worker must be one of the things the employer must always be thinking about, because you can't bring people into your employment and not have them at heart. So one of your things is to, how do you make them better? How do you make them deliver? So I'll just pause here. Probably Jamila will add a few more, and then.
Yes, so one of the things I like to talk about in terms of the responsibility of an employer is his responsibility to give you work. I know that a lot of employees, they are okay, they want their remuneration, so if it comes, especially if they are there for long term, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, their salary will come, or their wage will come at the end of the day. So yes, they can go and sit down, but I feel like one of the first things we should start to talk about when we talk about employers is their rights to provide work for you to do, actually. Maybe it's more difficult when you look at it in terms of like strenuous work, but for something like law, if I want to use that as an example, you learn as you work. So if your employer doesn't give you work and you go and sit down and you have nothing to do, it's like he's not doing his responsibility because you're supposed to learn. Now, when he gives you those responsibilities, he also now, I think Mr. Labi has mentioned that he has to give you the appropriate tools and machinery to work with. And so if you have the work and you're not able to, you don't have the resources to do it, it's basically,
so what are some of the resources you are looking at, like generally?
So it basically then would depend on what work we are looking at. Yes, like he mentioned. So for law, you would want to have like, you need a library, for example. You need to have, if you're in a law firm, you need to have cases to work on. You need to have access to the courts to learn what's going on there. If you are in a corporate, let me not use law alone. So let's say somebody works with, what would we look at? Even if you work, like, let's say, in a bank. So if you open a bank in a place where, let's say, there's the people, let's say you go and open a bank in a village where people really keep their monies under their pillows, let me give. It's kind of an extreme example, but like nobody comes there to do business. So you sit down the whole day, there's nobody there. So that's number one, they haven't provided you the work. But then now let's say that the work is also there. There are no machines to count the money, so the person comes, you have to use your hand to, just it's extreme, but I mean these days every bank has them. But yes, if you don't have something like that, how are you going to work?
You have
so
computers.
You don't have and that's one of the things.
There's no internet.
Yeah,
it's so
internet.
basic.
If you don't have internet, it's so basic. And I think that one of the things is that, for example, workplaces would give you work that requires you to use a laptop, and then they don't provide you a laptop. So sometimes I wonder, is it that it's a given that once you're employed, you should have a laptop? Because I look at some of my mates, and you know, I worked a long time before coming to start, so a laptop is not something I don't have. I'm looking at somebody who's just graduated. He comes to work at your firm, he needs to do work, and there's no laptop. Like, you basically give the person work, what's he supposed to do with it? Go and do research, there's no. So you find that, I mean, I've seen people come to work, and then they are using their phones to do the work. So they actually type a whole document using a phone. Because, I mean, the research is, I mean, not where I work right now, but yes, just so that we are clear. Yeah, but I've seen it before. That somebody types a whole document without on their phone, and I feel like, I mean, is it a given that I'm supposed to have a laptop? So the machines are not there, and so that's a big challenge. And I also feel like, as an employer, you have a duty to, it's your responsibility to keep an open channel of communication. Yeah. Right. So you work in a place where sometimes the bosses are like, when they are coming, it's like a God is coming, you know. So everybody is scurrying around to find something to do. They are scared of the person. And if they have a challenge, they will not go. They are afraid to go and tell the boss. So people will just be complaining among themselves.
Mine will be so right.
And it doesn't work for the employer as well, you know, because at the end of the day, you want your business to grow. So if you are making it such that people can't approach you and tell you what their issues are, then it's a problem.
Yeah, or you don't have an office or an individual who is supposed to really take these complaints.
Exactly, because normally when you are employed, you should have like a channel of communication. So if I have an issue, I should be able to have a supervisor that I'll tell who should, even if you are a boss that's, you know, in the multilateral businesses, they would have someone at the very top. You can't always take your problems there. Yeah. So we should have a system that we can go through. So for example, in terms of discipline, and these should be provided for in the contract. And that's one of the things that you would expect that an employer would give an employee, like a contract of employment, you know. So, and these things should be spelled out in there, that if if you do this as an employee, we'll take you through this kind of, this is the grievance procedure, this is the disciplinary procedure. But then you find that it's not really like that.
Non-existent.
You know, it does not exist at all. So a person would, like, the problem would happen, and then people will now be looking at how to solve it. But the law provides that you should have a contract of, I think you've discussed that on this program before. So you should have the contract, and the contract should spell out what your responsibilities are, what the grievance procedures are, what the disciplinary procedures are. We don't wait for a problem to start, and then and that's when you see that somebody will be treated differently from another. When this one does this, he gets away with it. This other person does it, and because there's no spelled out way, so then, I mean, then there's there's a chance for a person to do it according to how they feel like.
They feel and what they think about you.
Exactly. Today you are wearing this dress and I don't like it, so I'm going to pass this channel. Tomorrow you are, you know, petty things. You know, but if you had a procedure spelled out, then all these things would be sorted.
And ordinarily, you would think that employers should have these things, because if you've thought about having a business, you go through all this stress of establishing one. You've gone through all this stress of employing people to buy into your idea and work for you, and then these basic things you don't have. The question I ask myself is, are you really interested in your business? Or you are doing it because everyone is doing it? Everyone is doing something. Everyone is an entrepreneur. So you also want to be an entrepreneur. Or you really are interested in making this business work? I don't get it.
I think that's normally what would differentiate a business that you see that the business is doing well, because the person sets up the business and their attention is there.
They're conscious.
They are very, very conscious. They know they have the interest, like Mr. Labi said, they have the interest of their employees at heart. So if you do those things, sometimes it appears as if you are doing the employee a favor. But in actual sense, you are doing your business a favor. You know, so I feel like people should really pay attention to these small ones.
If he has struck gold without going through that process, he's encouraged to do those things. You know, and I think basically that's what has happened. There are a lot of guys who are making millions of Ghana cedis and they are not following the structures. So they are encouraged and they are emboldened to continue to do that, because he thinks that there was no HR policy, there was no HR office, there are no HR officers, but the funds are flowing in. So when you come and tell him that invest so much into that area, he will knock you off. But the truth is that in the long term, you'll be exposed and your business will not live beyond you. Okay, most businesses that have survived beyond the owners, they put in the corporate structures, they put in the strategies, and they ensure that finance is working, HR is working, product development is working, and this ensured that they died and left a legacy for the next generation. Most companies that have collapsed, they use a patapa, they made enough, and they died with whatever they started. So basically, if you want to see this enterprise into the next 100 years, you cannot miss certain basic things like letting the structures speak right from day one. And that's why it's important set programs are organized to bring people on the path to doing the right things.
Because most Ghanaian businesses, you know, some of the businesses outside, 500 years, 700 years, and you go like 700 what?
It's the structures.
And then you come to Ghana and immediately the owner dies. Everything comes to a standstill.
You know, it's like under 5 mortalities. I like to call it. You see the person set up a business and is very enthusiastic about it. Sometimes, I don't know, whether they seem not to know that the structures need to be there. It's not just because you have an idea, then you set up a business. You know, you need to put in place the structures before you start going on. And one of the things I think is very important in terms of having businesses that survive is training of your workers. Because
but why would they train you? When they train you, you leave. So the mentality is that why should I train you? Be there. But at the end of the day, if you don't train, the person will use that mentalities to do your work for you.
Exactly, because you know technology is advancing so fast, and imagine you have competitors all over the business. You are not the only one doing it, and so people would. Like I was saying at the beginning, like having work to do is one thing. Another thing is that maybe you have people working in a similar organization, and you see that the people are going because they are being trained. Oh, this time there's this new product that has come. They are going to learn how it's done. This one is going to, then you are just there. You are not growing. So employees will leave. Sometimes it's not even about the remuneration alone. And when employers are thinking about why their employees leave or stay, and it's true. I mean, we all, of course, the basic thing is that we all work for money. But it's not just about the money. If you're not growing, I mean, for me, that's one of the things that would put me off if I was working in an organization that I wasn't growing. I don't feel like I'm learning anything, because learning is an important part of the whole. Yes, I can't just be working and every day I earn the same thing. Like, I'll go home, I eat all right, but I can work in another place where I'm growing. I'm being taught what's going on. I know what are the new trends happening. You grow with the business. And when people are given such opportunities, they would hardly leave. I know you can train people. That's a chance you have to take, because, I mean, are you going to say that because they will leave, you are going to let them sit down? In any case, either way, your business won't grow.
Let me just add, you know, it's a 360-degree system we are running. And nobody will come from Mars to join the ecosystem. So I train and you poach. And I also poach from this place. So if each entity is training, it means that the system will be strong and all of us will grow together. That's my philosophy. Yes. So let's say at church, we invest in you and then you marry.
Church?
Methodist church.
Okay.
Then you marry and you move to maybe another area. You are going to impact people there. Somebody will also move from that area and join our church. Did we ask him who trained him? So that's the philosophy. Train people, and as you also look for replacements, the belief is that they also would have done the same training, so that the system is always tough and good. Nobody loses for me. If you decide to train, people move, don't worry.
And the funny thing, if you work with someone who have trained you before, you realize that yes, you move, but you never forget that leader. And everywhere you go, you always mention that leader. You acknowledge that person. And let's say, for example, you get to the top, and this leader is also working, and he needs your assistance, or you need, why won't you stop everything you're doing to go and help such a leader? Because you remember that person was the one who helped you, who trained you. And if you don't train and the person gets to the top, you want to come and fish where you didn't fall. It's how it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It's quite interesting.
And I think that's an interesting way that Mr. Labi puts it. If you look at it in the sense that, okay, when I train somebody else's own, I'll benefit. So we all go around. And I think one of the other things is that people sometimes look at the training in a way that makes it very complicated, or makes it look expensive. So people are thinking, okay, I need to take this person to this or I need to bring a resource person, and maybe my organization is not that big, so I can't afford, you know, those people that train, some of them are really expensive. So, but one of the ways you can do it is to just pay for somebody to actually join a different organization and learn. You know, you can do that. So it's not just bringing a resource person there. And there are some that are not as expensive. But to actually just do no training at all, and then some of them would justify it by saying that, okay, you are learning on the job. And that on the job, and he's equally not learning anything. So what are you going to learn from?
Or that you use your money to train yourself. You are here, you are working, I'm paying you. Use your money to train yourself.
Yeah, we own our self-development. So it is something we encourage that as Raymond Labi, I'm also investing. So quite a chunk of the knowledge I've got, it was self-development. But then, like yesterday, like this, I had opportunity to go to training at PwC to go and learn about pensions and other things. That is the company investing in me. Other times, I also invest. So it's like a partnership. So the companies must do. But as individuals, we must also invest in our own development, because we will live with all that mass of knowledge. And I will encourage people to do that as well.
And Mr. Labi, imagine if you were being trained and you don't even bring back the, you know, if you look at it from the perspective of the employee, no employer would like to train you. Some of them go and come and they don't make any impact. Nothing changes about the way they work. You've gone to learn a new something. You're supposed to come back. If there are other employees, you're supposed to also train them, so that they all know. I mean, you can't take every single employee to go and learn that thing. So if one of you has been trained, when you come back, you also train your colleagues. But some of them will go and come. Number one, they won't train anybody. Maybe because they want to feel like they're the only ones that know that. You know, there's unnecessary competition, I know. So they will come and they won't train anybody. And then they themselves that have even acquired the information, because they don't want others to learn. They won't even apply it. Or some of them are just not serious.
And the funny thing is that when you know something, you don't teach it. You become stale.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So let me just summarize it in shade like this. Say, you see, Ananiaka so far, no more Emma Ebiejuma, Obima Obiejuma. You can say so more Obiejuma, one or a with Juma dear. But oh, you may be a bo all right. Then you may be so you say, way. You may be all right, no, you can be brave. Near say, one now, ultimately employ the panel. About organization. Wow, employ ni panel, utimi san fire ni panel. But I say, me ana me ma oba be ye ejuma ma me. Se me pese ye ejuma ma me a, metimi am wako. But of course, se na be ma ni panel kono. Okọ kwan paso a no ano no, but wankọ kwan paso na wo ye bibi nti na opa me na manako a and you become one same later. Near I associate Cassenti, what didn't Panabano, a training Nipano. What I say, one now, a right or be employ Nipano, a right or be fire Nipano. But Sani Pano wa fano no, a training no, because when you be Obi a Juma now one buana mane new Juma no more. O Juma more this old mind, no, ne be a Juma say Juma in Coso. Nti skani bia wenye bi to see by in the long term no nya be bresa because e do baby so wu ye na adwuma no ne wewu wu ye na adwuma no be say obi entimi mba ne obi entimi nya bi mu e bi so one of structures no nsisi ho ama ye entimi anye ne ye nti I think so far no in some minutes and yaka about wa we ye wan kasa we ye adwuma wo employer bi nti sia ne e behwe say nipa na we obi a obi afa we juma say na say o rights ni be den in our responsibilities no e be so den so let me come to the employee. So what are some of the rights of the employee, and then we'll come to the responsibilities of the employee.
Okay. All right. I think for me the constitution is the first place we need to look at, and those who have done a little law, the chapter, we call it chapter 5. Fundamental human rights. That one, God has given it to us. And it's been blessed in the Constitution. Things like freedom of speech, freedom of association. Those are the rights Constitution has given to you. That's why at the workplace, you can talk and your boss cannot say, shut up. Because if those rights are not there, I'm telling you, we all become mumu in the workspace. So for me, every employee, you need to have the Constitution and study what those rights are and make use of them so that they don't shut you. Then you move to the Labor Act itself, where there are also a lot of rights. And when you look at the Labor Act, there's a section, I call it, that's the spirit of our rights. And we say, when you look at Section 10, the rights of the worker. That one, I see it as a spirit. And I don't even want us to be so much concerned with that one. I rather want to go and look at the individual one-by-one rights that has been given to us, that are so precious that when you know, you will make good use of it. And I'll just pick one, like leave. That is a very specific right that has been given to you. That when you work with somebody in a year, from let's say January to December, the person is supposed to give you minimum 15 days. And then the days, it is working days. So let's say we have 7 days in a week, but 5 of those days, based on where you work, could be seen as what we call working days. So you get 5 plus 5 plus 5, 15 days to go on leave and rest and recover your energy and your motivation. A lot of people are not aware, and a lot of people work from January to December, and their employers refuse to give them what? This precious right that has been given to them, leave, because they are not aware, because they don't know. And if you don't know, you can't even go and ask. So for me, I am interested in going through some of them that is being hidden from majority of the workers we have in this country, because they are not aware. Let me add one more, then my sister will also chip in. Let's say you are a casual worker, the FNO by day, and then you are supposed to come to work on Monday. Then you get there, and then the rain starts, and it falls throughout the day. So actually, no work was executed. Yeah. Then Brian will say, and then they say Juma Ambassador and no PD. Because the guy doesn't know the law, so he came home empty-handed. No.
But the law says exactly.
No. Once your employer has declared that it's a working day for you, you have reported, and it is nature that has disrupted work, you cannot be held accountable for that.
Yeah.
So your wages, you will take it.
But the funny thing is, as you said, most people don't know that.
Because
And they feel as if someone is
no, because they've not read. And we too, that we know, we have refused to what? Expose it to them. Like, I won't go far, maybe in my immediate environment, my family. If I educate them, I would have saved about 10, 15 people about some of these things. So some of them, they are so basic that people have been cheated for far too long. Even when it comes to, today is a public holiday. So casuals that were asked to come to work because they needed to do some very important work, they are supposed to receive twice of their what?
Yeah. Extra, yeah.
But they don't know. They will go, they will give them the normal pay, and they are happy. Look of you. And if you're given this right, they spent days to create it for you, but we are not giving it. Sometimes to the employers themselves, Brian doesn't know.
Yes, and that's a fair.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes the Brian doesn't know.
So that's why we are here,
Yes.
to educate Brian and you, the employee.
Yes, he doesn't know because he gets more money. No, he say he wants to set up business. He has set up the business, but instead of getting somebody with knowledge to take him through the process, he has not done it, and that is where we are.
When it comes to the rights of the employee, I mean, I think there are so many more employees than there are employers. And so if you look at it, for the employee, the starting point is even the Constitution, you know. I didn't find anything about specifically for the rights of the employer. But if you look at Article 24, you find that the rights of the employee are listed there. So it tells you how important those rights are, you know. So they should not be taken lightly at all. So, for example, and some of them are so basic. Number one, you need to have, when you're working, you need to have work in an area where it should be safe and healthy and satisfactory. And so you, some businesses, you know, you can never meet that kind of description from. So, for example, let's start even from the market. Some of them don't have washrooms, so they have the shop there. The shop is big and everything. Sometimes they have a tiny washroom there, and only the madam uses it. So the employees don't have access to it. That cannot be considered a healthy environment or a safe environment. So when they need to go, they have to, you know, look around, go and, I don't know, like, it's so, I don't know, whether it's unsatisfactory. So it does not meet the basic requirement that an employment environment should be. And these are not taken, like, apart from the Constitution and the Labor Act, you'll find that there's a Factories, Offices and Shops Act. And, you know, for them to specifically provide, and some things are there that you would not think that Parliament will sit down and plan, but even things like ventilation, you know, overcrowding in some of the places, those things are all provided for. And so there are basic rights that if an employee is working somewhere, the environment should be safe and healthy. And in that regard, I mean, if you come to my office, sometimes I don't even have to go to the office, but I will go because the environment is, I mean, I don't have to. I could stay at home if I wanted to, but sometimes my house, the children are there disturbing. My environment at work is so cool that I even want to go to work when I don't have to. So yes, you should make a provision for basic things like that. And then when it comes to remuneration, now remuneration is, I mean, every employee knows that is entitled to some remuneration. Like Mr. Labi was saying, sometimes it's true that the employers equally don't know that. I doubt that a lot of employers know that when you have a casual worker come in on a holiday, you're supposed to pay double. They don't know that. So it's not as if they intend to cheat, but some know. We have to say that as well. Some of them are very much aware, but they know that the employee doesn't know. And that's why we must educate ourselves. So yes, you must remunerate, and the remuneration must be such that if you agree, for example, that we are going to be paying, if you're an employee and they tell you that, okay, we are paying you monthly, the month should not end, and then you now have to come and say, oh, sometimes the month, for some people, the month will end and go into the next month. You know, I mean, you shouldn't have to suffer that kind of plight. You are entitled to it. We've agreed, and that is where the contract again comes in. If I have my contract that tells me that I'm entitled to this amount at the end of the month, at the very latest, the last working day of that month, I should be able to receive it. And all these things should be spelled out. So yes, the remuneration and should be paid at the agreed time, the rate. And one of the things that employers like to do is that they will look at, so they want to punish the employee. Let's say somebody came in like 2 hours late on a particular day. They feel like they can prorate their... Yes, and then take out a certain percent.
Yes.
That is so illegal. Like the act specifically says that you are not allowed to do that. So if you do that, you are just committing an illegality. But yes, people do that and they feel like they are punished. But the act says no, you can't take out those except with the consent of the employee or some that are statutorily required for you to take. You can't take out the employees. You can't punish him with a pecuniary punishment. You know, and then the training thing that we talked about. So you see that the training it is a duty of the employer. It's also a right of the employee. So because yes, he has a duty to, and you have a right to also be trained and retrained. And I've seen a case where the court said that the person was entitled to be trained. I think it's Airtel and the National Labour Commission also. The person was working in a different capacity. You know, and then they wanted to transfer him somewhere into another capacity without any training whatsoever. And they were not willing to provide, they were moving him from like Accra to a different region. They were not willing to provide a driver, no vehicle and all that. So some of these things, you need to like take them very seriously because sometimes it's because the employee does not go and demand they don't enforce their rights. Yeah. So yes, you can just do it and get away with it, so you are fine. But where the employee actually takes steps to enforce their rights, you'll find that as an employer, you'll find yourself wanting. Yeah. So I think that this right should be taken serious, and they have the right to information that is required in their line of duty. You can't keep it and then they have to come and ask you, and then practical, I don't know, sometimes I feel like some employers, I don't know whether they are not serious with their businesses. It's your business. Yeah. So the mere fact that you want to pay me doesn't mean you should somehow punish me first by, I don't know what is the next for them anyway. But yes, I think that these are rights that, and like I said, they are provided for in the Constitution for the rights of the employee. So I don't think that anybody can take them lightly at all.
Yeah. And
okay, I just want to run through a few issues of redundancy. A lot of people, they are just sacked without any cause. The law says that if you think you have come to the end of your business, operations, there are rules to follow. So you declare redundancy, you negotiate with the workers, and then you let them go. But I've seen on countless occasions where the employer will just wake up and say, from tomorrow, we are no longer operating, I'll give you 2 months pay, and then you go. Is there no? When you go to the Labour Commission, many cases like this. First, the employer is not aware. The workers themselves, they are confused. They take the money and they go. It's not accepted. Even recently, I had to call somebody and say, you can't have females who are working for you, you outsource them to another company, and when they become pregnant, your only recourse is that the person has to bring a replacement for the person to come and work on the person who has delivered behalf. So in that situation, whatever remuneration that is being given is going to be shared between the woman who has delivered and the one who has. If you are not able to bring somebody and they bring, then you have even lost the hope of coming back.
Wow.
Meanwhile, these are people who have worked for you 3, 4, 5 years.
Doesn't matter how long they put it. The first time they're an employee.
No, even I want to say that
they're entitled to 3 months.
And these are people you are not paying heaven. You are paying them very normal rate. They will not have made any savings. They get pregnant, they deliver, and for the period that they are taking care of the children for the 3 months, no kobo.
There's this particular case I came across which was quite funny. So the whole thing is that the company will not sack you. You are pregnant, you are going to deliver. They're not going to sack you. They are going to sack you. You have a cause of action. So they will frustrate you. They will frustrate you so much so that you yourself, you resign.
How do they frustrate you?
So instead of, so sometimes you come to work, and when you come to work, your supervisor, do this for me, do that for me, you know, and usually they'll tell you can leave around 3 o'clock if you are a nursing mother. No, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you're still working. And you know, if you're a woman and you're breastfeeding, you know, the issue
you need a
of
little
the
time.
Yes. So you look at it and you go like, no, I'm not interested. I want to leave, and then you leave.
That's
So
the sad
we used
part.
one person as we used them as a scapegoat once, and it was quite nice. And as you said, there was an HR person. The HR person was like, when you talk, they don't listen. They think they know everything, so they don't listen.
I don't think it's because they think they know everything. It's because they think they can get away with it.
Yes. And
You
they
know,
usually
because
did.
because the act says that you're supposed to give them full
Yes.
salary.
Yeah.
They have full entitlement.
Yes, everything.
Everything. So it's not as if they have to beg for it, but they don't know. And then some of
You
them.
know the fire service case.
Yes.
It was so funny.
Yes.
I was
So
so much
interesting.
in love.
That's a whole
So,
state.
so fire service, you know, if you are fire service used to be that if you're a woman, you can't get pregnant for about 3 to 5 years, right?
Just imagine.
And then you can't get so you get pregnant and they find a way to sack you. And one lady went to court and she won. And so now fire service women can get pregnant. What we are saying is, if you don't test the waters, if you don't, you have the right, you have it. If you're not ready to ensure that you get what is due you, people will bypass you. No one is ready to fight for someone who isn't ready to fight for themselves.
No, there's a difficulty around it, but I'm sure in the course of the discussion we'll come
I
to
think
that.
that-
Actually, I have a
that-
few more minutes.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Yes. So basically, what I want to say is that there are a lot of rights.
Let's
For-
mention some of them just in...
Like you have something like night work for pregnant women.
Yes.
It's a serious area that people should be very careful about. And overtime.
Yeah.
You know, if there's no rule about overtime in your company, nobody can force overtime on you. And when you do overtime, you must be remunerated accordingly. As some of the things, and I'm sure today holiday, some people have gone to work, they are not giving anything extra. Meanwhile,
here. How do you work?
and
all the other team members are here as well. So
and we
yes,
can
they must
count
get
the number of
remuneration.
people who do not have contract, but they work for like ages.
Yeah.
So at the point of reckoning, you don't know what is guiding them.
And that is really, really, really
Yeah,
sad.
yeah.
Because, I mean, it's the basis for everything. And you know, sometimes the employer doesn't want to give you a contract because they think that, well, sometimes they want to be able to have the liberty to do things without having, because they've not told you anything. But it works against you as well. Because
Right.
if you terminate me now and I take an action against you and I say that you said you were going to pay me this amount, what's the evidence? And you know that the employment, sometimes it's not just the written contract.
Yes,
I can
yes.
go to court over practice. Like if they look at the cost of dealing, they can tell that this is what it is. It's an employment situation, even though you haven't given me any written contract.
So I have a lot of questions coming, but my time is so up that I don't even know how to go about it. So let me just. So Myla Ado Lawson is asking, can staff seek redress with the human resource if the employer doesn't provide working equipment for them? Can you seek redress? And then let's look at redress generally. How do you seek redress? So let's look at her specifically and then redress generally.
You walk to the human resource office and you make a legitimate request, because this is even enshrined in the internal policy that people must be equipped to do their work. If, like the camera guys, without camera, they cannot work. Good. If it fails, then you move beyond, and the best is even beyond HR, you can go to the MD or you can go to the board. And I because litigation is sometimes tiring, do the internal one, HR, MD, the board. After that, the Labour Commission is very much available. It's free at the first level, what we call facilitation. It's very free, and they will address, because this one is like, we'll call it low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Low-hanging fruit. They will deal with it without.
Because at the end of the day,
So, Myla.
you just want to work.
Yeah.
So they will recognize that. I mean, they should recognize that
Yeah.
you are trying to
Yeah.
improve their
Yeah.
business.
So, and generally, if you have issues for redress, that's the line of. And I also often tell people that if you are part of an association in your organization, join them. You know, workers.
And he said that's a really key interest, key right that we left out, because you have the right to join a union, and it's very it's from the Constitution.
Yes.
Article 21 will tell you that you have the right to freedom of association, and when you come to the Act, it says you have the right to join. Any 2 or more people can form a union.
Yes. So if you are one and your friend is one, you can form a union. You
can form a union. And you can equally decide not to join a union. You also have the right that I won't
all right. So all these groupings will be helpful. So your final words.
Okay. So for final words, I would say that employers need. It's true that we always look at their duties and we shun their rights.
Rights, yeah.
But at the end of the day, they are the ones in control. It's not really a balanced relationship. They control, you know, a lot of the things that are going. So yes, they should treat the employees fairly. And let me go biblical, because this is a Christian station. So yes, even the Bible says that you should, as an employer, as a master, treat the people under you as if you know you are, because you know that you also have God to answer to. So treat them fairly. That's what the Bible says. Treat them fairly in a just manner, because that's what you also know, that you have a master that you also answer to. So yes, some of the employers know that these employees have these rights. It's not like they don't know. If you don't know, it's another thing. And even if you don't know, you know, in law we say ignorance of the law. Learn it. That's why programs like these exist. So learn it and do what is right. So yes, that's for the employers. As for the employees,
you need to work hard, employee. You don't just go and sleep.
Exactly. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh, why is the work mine, or is it for your father? Why are you taking the thing personal?"
World Cup.
You know, the language. Why are you taking the World Cup? And they'll be like, "Okay, if you die today, somebody else will come." As if you shouldn't do your best, but you should do your best. You should do your best as a worker. That's one of your duties. Did we talk about the duties of a worker?
Don't worry.
You have the responsibility to work thoroughly and conscientiously, you know, so you should do your best there. So fine, if you don't like it, you have the right to leave. So if you decide to stay, do your best. You know, don't do it as if you were working for your earthly master as well. You work as if you're working for your master. So those will be my final words.
Final words.
Okay, for me, every employee, the Constitution, have it, read it. Labor Act, have it, read
Important. If you don't even understand, just read it.
Yes, and then the Pensions Act, have it and read it.
Right.
These are important books that should be by your bedside.
Apart from your Bible.
Yes, because it
will
guide you very well.
Yeah.
And please, never make the mistake of resigning without consulting people who have knowledge in the space.
Very important.
Even when they are forcing you and you resign, the evidence will be very much heavy against you.
Yeah.
Some people fear to be terminated. If your employer wants to terminate you, please let him terminate you.
Sometimes it's better to be terminated to have more grounded.
Yes.
But Anita, you know, sometimes the conditions can be such that you are so in terms of something like sexual harassment. I feel like something like that. You should. But you know, there's something like constructive termination.
Yes.
So you can leave.
Yes.
But you can also seek redress,
yes,
because in a way the employer has forced you to leave.
If you don't have evidence based.
But if you most of them don't have evidence. I have a couple of them. They didn't have evidence.
So
I say, all right, so
nope.
My time is up.
Oh.
My time is so up that it's even not funny. So in conclusion, I think I can say, "Oh, you juma mobia, you juma ni ye." It will be the BWB juma, and then papa de nyame mama de ye juma to so ye juma manyankopon. What's you say? Ye juma ni ye, we juma na obey ni ye no bibi hu aka say, "Oh, we no, or ye juma ye, or ye juma fe, inti me be manage juma for Friday." In a wo so a wo san, wo ye juma mo bi no hu say, "We juma mo just almost last week I scan just say we do no less than 400 day calculation last week. Yes, say when you so me for so new in few juma. What 3 months after wow. So be sure but as you say ma equipment ade be ye juma. Ye ma wa mile bisasa question. Otimi ko HR, otimi ko MD, otimi ko board o. Omuni amboa wa association no join bi wo juma mo no. Enko yi a otimi ko National Labour Commission next week. National Labour Commission for beba ha. Na no ma bo san komo. Nti nyama ne de do so. And the time echo. But then metimi aka chewa na say in some ye keka no. Ye ka. Now one find me juma, one practice and now one try say obey implement or one kasa whole life one. They be obi intimi mboa. Pastor what I say. So in conclusion, let me just say this: please take care of yourself And know that next week we are coming with fair and unfair labor practices. So National Labour Commission will be here to help us discuss this. Remember, Rose sewed my dress, and Samuela had the cloth. And Samuela is on 0243018508, and the Mamel's Creation is Rose on 0541809393. Please, until next week, please, when you call them, just mention my name. You get a discount. Until next week, please stay safe and adieu.